myself, I'm Doug Miller. I'm 63 years old. Originally born in Batavia, Illinois, but moved to Florida when I was 15, and been there ever since until we moved to Smith Mountain Lake about 3 years ago. My passion, of course, is motorcycles. I just love them. I've been riding since I was 13 years old, or actually 12 years old, and have never been without at least one motorcycle since then. I can't remember exactly when I started loving motorcycles, but I do remember my brother coming home with a Triumph motorcycle, and he pulled it out into the garage, which was quite a ways from our house. I ran out there, had my shorts on, jumped on the bike and burned my leg. My first mini bike my brother bought me for Christmas, and I just love that thing. And of course, you rode it for a while and then you want the next best thing. So I moved on to a little Honda mini bike, which I thought was better. But shortly after that, I got my first real motorcycle, which was a Penton 125. And that's when I started riding off-road. And shortly after that, got into racing. Raced up till I was shot. And at the time I was shot, I was first overall in my class in the race series and second overall out of everybody in the whole series. Back in 1981, I was at work and a manic depressive came in. Now he was the husband of the lady that owned the business, came in and started shooting, and I got shot during that in the back, and one bullet went in at T11, T12, which is why I'm paralyzed, legs are paralyzed. Another bullet went in right here, kind of on my neck, and came out my left eye. So that's why I have the glass eye. Pretty amazing that I'm here. I'm very blessed because when that bullet went through, it caught the carotid artery, which obviously that goes to your brain. And they ended up having to put a stent in there by going up through the groin, through the artery, and put the stent in. And when I went into the operation, they told my mom that there was a pretty good chance that I'd be brain damaged. Another term, vegetable. So I feel very, very blessed that I'm here. My mom, she was an amazing woman in intensive care. I fell asleep. And every time I'd fall asleep, I'd wake up with a start, like I was shot again. My whole body felt like it was jumping out of my skin, and I was going to fall out of the bed even. Every time she'd say, "What happened?" I said, "I was shot." And she said, she'd sing me, "Jesus Loves Me," to sleep. And I'd fall asleep, and it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. And every time she'd sing, "Jesus Loves Me." The last time she says, "What happened?" I said, "The chair shot me," and I laughed. And I've never had a nightmare or, any fear. And getting out of the hospital, I was prepared because of her strength. My mom said it was while I was still in the rehabilitation hospital, I started talking about sidecars. I'm not sure if it was then or right afterwards, but I got out of rehab. I didn't even have my artificial eye yet, and started building my first sidecar. And back then there wasn't YouTube and everything to learn from, so I just kind of read a little bit that I could and started doing it. Built the sidecar and started riding it. I've always worked on my own motorcycles because, one, I want to make sure that it's done correctly, even though maybe I didn't know how to do it when I first started doing it. I just learned and went along. But also because I couldn't afford to pay somebody else to do it. So it's one of those things that you just, and especially when you're racing, bike needs a lot of maintenance to keep it running well. And I do like getting out in the garage and just kind of piddling. I'm not an expert mechanic or expert welder or expert anything, but I like doing it, and I enjoy getting out here and messing around. And I've built sidecars from scratch and bought from France and had put together the kits from France. And as far as racing or riding, it's just kind of a release. You get out there and you just enjoy what you're doing. It clears your mind. You're thinking about just the ride. You look back and say, maybe this wouldn't happen, maybe that wouldn't happen, but I'm happy with all the steps through my life because I'm happy where I am. If I'd taken one of those choices away, I wouldn't be where I am. It might be somewhere else where I wouldn't like as well. I didn't do anything special, or it's nothing special about me, I don't think. It's belief in God, a mother that raised me well, watching her after divorce go from being a waitress to owning the restaurant, a positive outlook in what you can do if you try to do it. If you have a positive outlook and just decide to do it, it can be done.